And so I popped it in. I was like, oh, this is cute. This is charming. This is funny. So it was runner-up for the 2023 Los Angeles Film Critics Association Best Animated Feature Award. And now it is finally making its way into theaters. So we're thrilled we get to talk to you about Robot Dreams.
I am so excited to talk about Robot Dreams with you because this is an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
For a movie that it looks really simple and sweet, and the color palette is bright and cheery. Like, it has some highs and lows. I sat on that couch and I laughed out loud, and then I was like, oh, like I stopped eating lunch. I set my plate down because I had to deal with the tears. Like, I can't eat my sandwich and watch this movie at the same time.
I was not ready for the sobbing, I thought, oh, this is cute. This is charming.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. So I'm so glad you guys are here because Robot Dreams is finally out. It is from Neon. It was an Academy Award nominee for Best Animated Feature. Nothing was going to beat Miyazaki this year, but this is excellent, and I'm so glad that it was in the conversation as well. It is totally wordless. It is based on a graphic novel by Sara Varon. It's written and directed by Pablo Berger, and it follows the seemingly sweet and gentle adventures of a dog named Dog living in New York City in the 80s. And Dog is lonely, and Dog would like a companion. He sees everyone else out on the street, holding hands and chatting, and he's got no one. He lives a very simple life in his little apartment in the East Village, and one day sees an ad for a robot that you can send away for and have it, sent to you in the mail, and you can assemble it and it can be your pal. And so that's what he does. And we get to watch him just blossom and watch the two of them interact and have all these adventures and, seemingly simple things like taking the subway to Central Park. And there's so much I want to tell you, but I don't want to tell you because I want you to enjoy it. I want you to experience it because there's such richness in the simplicity of their day in and day out adventures. But something happens. They go to the beach, they get separated, and that's all I'm going to say. And that's in the description on the IMDb. So I'm not going beyond what's out there already, because there's so much for you to experience yourself. But I was blown away. It both in the really specific ways this depicts his day in, day out life, from the sad little TV dinners he eats, the same macaroni and cheese. There's one shot from inside their microwave where you see it bubbling and popping, and one little piece of cheese flies onto the inside of the microwave door. I mean, things like that. They get New York so right. It's 80s New York. So everything from the graffiti to the hip hop to they get the subway lines right, which, as you know, if you ever watch any of our reviews,
you're a stickler for transportation.
I like when the geography is right. And so there's a great deal of care as far as they get on the L train at 14th Street and First Avenue. And I appreciated that. They rent a movie, and you can see that from the VHS box. It's from Kim's Video, which is a legendary video store in New York City. So there's a lot of love for film and for pop culture and for this era. He drinks Tab with a straw.
And I'm not going to give away what they are, but the needle drops in this movie are perfection.
And surprisingly poignant.
Yes.
The song that is the through line in this movie is a joyous pop song, an enduring song that
it's now going to make me a little bit sad when I hear it.
There's so much meaning behind it. You know how in, what is that Sarah Polley movie where they use the Buggles video Kill the Radio Star? The one with Michelle Williams and Seth Rogen?
Yeah. I know the one you're talking about.
They're married. Take This Waltz.
Take This Waltz, yes.
Right? I can never hear video Kill the Radio Star again without thinking of the extremely poignant way it's used in that film. That's how this is going to be from now on. Just the way that they play with the reality of the day in, day out in New York City, but also the sense of imagination that takes hold for both of these characters. There's a great deal of just characterization and personification all throughout this, and surprises along the way. I kind of loved it.
Yeah, we talk about science fiction being a way to sort of comment on our current world by, showing us something that's fantastical. And this is a movie, I think, that really has a lot to say about human relationships without any human characters, or with very few of them, the dog and the robot, the way that their relationship unfolds, the different paths that they take, over the course of the story, speaks a lot, I think, to the human experience in a way that is what makes it so moving, is that why you get so invested in them and who they are and what they mean to each other, and it becomes just emotionally devastating. At the end of the year, you probably go through this too, where the film critics voting meeting is like a week away, and you're trying to keep up just with all the end of the year releases, and then you're also getting the emails from people saying, "Oh, have you seen this? Have you seen this?" And several people who I trust were like, "Oh, well, you've got to see Robot Dreams because it was in the Neon. They always send out a nice book every year with all their DVDs." And so I popped it in. I was like, "Oh, this is cute. This is charming. This is funny." So yeah, it was in this nether zone where I couldn't quite put it on my top 10 for last year because it hadn't really opened. It had like a very scant, like, qualifying Oscar release, which worked because they got an Oscar nomination, but it is absolutely going on my list for 2024. This movie is just so wonderful. I love it so much.
Yeah, I am putting it on my list for 2024 as well. Like, I think maybe not even 3/4 of the way through it, I got my phone out just to remind myself, okay, I love this movie. This is going up there with like Challengers and Dune 2.
And Hundreds of Beavers.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure I'll have that on mine.
Okay.
That'll be on yours. That can be on yours. That's okay. But yeah, I was just, I was charmed at how also it's an hour and 40 minutes long. And when I first saw that, I thought, how are they going to sustain this? How are they going to sustain this conceit where it's like sort of an art house version of The Secret Life of Pets? How are they going to keep that idea going for a long time? And they do. Every second is full of meaning and emotion. And something that we have commented on about other movies, there are no villains here.
Yeah.
There are some characters that interact with them in a way that is not always kind.
Right.
But even for them, like, you see what their motivation is in the way that they interact with these characters.
Absolutely.
Like, no one's bad, no one's evil, just like stuff happens and they endure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So this is in theaters starting Friday. We're a little bit early on this, but I hope it's going wider and wider because this needs an audience for sure.
For sure. And I would say, like, I think that if you are a parent who's, you could take a kid to this. There's nothing objectionable.
Sure.
But just be ready to be, if your kid's not crying and you are, that might be a conversation you have to have later. But, I give this a 10, no question. This movie is, I just love it so much.
I do too. I give it a 10 as well. And like, how often do you and I give out 10s? But this
Rarely.
is, I wouldn't change a thing about it. I was just held in its spell the whole time. And just like the depth of emotion combined with just the seeming simplicity of the images, I thought was, and also the way it's shot, whatever you want to call it, the use of shadow, the use of reflection, like the way like the dog character will walk past a bowl or like a glass ball at the psychic's place. And like, there's this distortion to the look of his head
and the color palette in general. I couldn't get enough of looking at this movie because on the one hand it looks like almost sort of like a Richard Scarry, those storybooks, but then it finds this real emotional depth to that, and so that's a cool little contrast.
There's a scene in the snow that is just delicately beautiful. There's like the shadow of a chain link fence going across a character's face. That's like something out of a film noir. Like there's a great deal of care in the details here. So please go see Robot Dreams if it's playing near you. We both loved it.